Hi, my name is Joe, and in this video, I'm going to be discussing whether or not you should be paying for leads. And if you haven't watched any other videos on this channel, the goal of this channel is to help business owners or people that are looking to start a business go from working, 60, 70, 80 hours per week and, maximizing their business through different processes and different sales tactics and get that number closer to 15 minutes per day. So if you're looking to work less and earn the same amount, if not more, this is the channel for you. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. And first, I just want to say that I would 100% pay for leads. I do it every day. Personally for me, I use Google Ads. I do them on my own just because I haven't found another company that's been able to replicate my results. So for me, I typically pay $10 to $15 per lead that comes in. Now, if you're using another company, you might be 25, 30, might even be 40 bucks a lead, depending on how long you've been doing leads and that kind of thing. Now, if you're using something like Home Advisor, I personally haven't used them. I've heard nothing but horror stories just because the cost is so high, and a lot of the times the people are a waste of time, which a lot of people are wasting time on Google Ads as well. Because what ends up happening, coming from a fence background, is people are looking, especially in the springtime, it happens where they're looking to get a fence, or they know they need a fence, or the wife's complaining, so the husband starts looking, or vice versa. And what happens though is, at least 80% of the time, the person thinks it's going to cost like just say $4,000 or $5,000 for a fence, when in reality it's going to be like $7,000 and $8,000. And the same is going to be true for like decking and anything else. I was in the same boat. We were going to get a deck. We were just curious about what the price was going to be at that point, so we could start, budgeting. And I thought it was going to be about $10,000, and it turned out it was going to be like $25,000. So, even as a contractor, I had no idea what it cost. So that's what's going to happen for you. What I typically suggest is you need to find a way to give them a price as quickly as possible. So that's ideally to do it right on your website. Like for us, we use an online price tool. So we pretty much drive all our traffic to the online price tool, and then they use that. From there, if they're interested, then they end up contacting us. So at least then, once you're talking to someone, they already have an idea how much it's going to cost. So that's the easiest way. If you're not able to do an online price tool for whatever reason, and most people can, it just depends. Even if you're doing like kitchen remodels, something like that, you can have, because most of the kitchens are going to be the same unless you're going like high-end multi-million-dollar homes. And what you can do is basically have like 3 price tiers. So you basically have like the low-end like builder grade, then you have like a mid-grade, and then the bottom one is like a magazine, quality, knock your socks off kind of quote, where, for the basic, you're looking at like 8 to 10, for the mid, you're looking at 15 to 20, and then for, the wow factor, it might be $30,000 to $50,000. But as long as you put that on there, it makes your life a lot easier because they at least know what to expect. A lot of people don't want to put pricing on there because about competitors and everything else. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Everyone knows what you charge, whether or not you put pricing on the website or not, because I can guarantee you when the other companies first started out, or throughout the process of the year, they will either, call and have some fake, maybe friends or family call you, or they're constantly getting the customers that you already spoke to, they're talking to as well. So they see your quotes all the time. So you might as well just price it out as quickly as possible so that way you don't have to talk to them. But I digress. Okay, so getting back to this, so yes, you should pay for leads, but the problem is you have to find out how much you should pay for leads. And I'm going to show you an example, which I went into more detail in other videos, but I'm going to show you why it actually costs you money not to advertise and to not pay for leads. Okay, so in this example is, let's just say, and I'll do for, kitchen remodel. Okay, so the price of the project, just say on average, is about $20,000. Okay, and of that, we're going to say on the low end of 30% profit. So you're looking at $6,000. And then the high end, depending on your margins, you might be at 50%. So it's $10,000. Okay, so this is your profit after you pay for your materials and labor. Obviously, this doesn't include your vehicle cost and everything else, but this is your after materials and labor, your gross profit. This is what you're ending up with. Okay, and hopefully, if you've watched any other videos, I show you how to basically bring this in without having to do the work. So check out those videos. So we have this, okay? The next thing we have to look at is the number of leads that you get on average and that turn into a job. So let's say, and there's a really good video on this. So just say you are doing kitchen remodels and currently you're only charging 30% profit. So you're at 6,000. Watch the other video. We'll have a link in the description, but it'll show you how to go from this to that. And you don't lose any jobs because of it. Okay. Well, what we need to look at is, there's two things. We need the cost per lead. So we have this cost per lead at CPL. Okay. And we're just going to say that they cost $35. Okay. I don't know what you pay. I know Home Advisor's more than that, but we'll just go with this. Okay. So the cost per lead is that. Now you have to look at your closing percentage. Okay. So we'll just call it the close rate. Okay. So let's say that you book, 10%. So, 10 to 1. So you have 10 leads come in, 1 job comes out of that. Okay. So what you look at is your costs, your cost for your ads is 35 times 10 is $350. Okay. Now a lot of you guys are going to say, well, there's no way I'm paying $350 for a customer. But remember, you paid $350 to make between $6,000 and $10,000. So this is a no-brainer. Even if you had to up this number and just say you did Home Advisor, so they're getting a bunch of different quotes and it goes to multiple different companies, and now you're paying let's just do crazy numbers. Let's say it's $60 now, and let's say it's even 20 to 1. Okay, so now we're paying $1,200 for a customer, which I know everyone's saying there's no way in hell I do that, but you're paying $1,200, but again, you're bringing in $6,000 to $10,000. So, it's basically a 5 to 1 ratio. It's kind of like you put $5 in, and then you're getting $25 out. And I always mention this in different videos, especially when it comes to stuff like this, is you have to look at this again, you have to go back to this, right? And you have to figure out ways to get yourself down. If you're physically doing this installation, you got to figure out a way to hire people to do it for you. So I have videos on that as well, and there's constantly new videos being uploaded. Typically Monday through Friday, there's a new video every single day. But the main goal is to get out of this. So if you're currently working 10 hours, for this, you want to somehow get this down to 1. Okay. But anyway, going back to this and this, you got to look at your advertising kind of like a slot machine. So if you know these numbers, and we're going with this worst case scenario where you're paying $60 for a lead and it takes you 20 leads to close a job, $1,200, which is absolutely ridiculous, completely ridiculous. But again, we're spending $1,200. Okay. So imagine going to the slot machine, right? So you spent $1,200 at the slot machine, or let's break it down because this is a scary number. So we put in $100, right? Crisp $100 bill. And then out of that, we received $500, which is a $400 profit. Okay? So how many times would you do this at the casino? I hope it would be as often as you can and everything else, because if you put in 100 and you get 500, then if you put in 1,000, then you get 5,000. This is the easiest way to really grow your business by far. It's literally through advertising. A lot of people say that word of mouth is the best advertising. And for that, I agree 100%. I agree that, for referrals, instead of being 21, it might be 3 to 1, right? But the problem with that is, how many of those leads are you getting every single week? And you have to base it upon, how many jobs do you need in a week? So if you need, based upon these numbers, and I have videos about this as well, but just say all your expenses, because the way I look at it is you have to figure out all your business and your personal expenses. So let's break it down to make it as easy as possible and say that all your bills and personal and business expenses comes to $520,000. Okay, so that's going to be 10 grand a week. Okay, well, if you're only, if you're on the low side, so 6,000, and so this means you need basically 1 3/4 jobs. Okay, to get to the $10,000 mark. Okay, so if you're waiting on referrals to come in or word of mouth coming in, at this point, do you have at least 6 calls a week from word of mouth? Because at that point, if you have 6 coming a week, then you can easily book 2 jobs, and then you can easily make your 10 grand over the course of the year. Or for the week. But the problem is, most times, 9 times out of 10, you don't have 6 phone calls coming in from word of mouth. You might have 2. So that means to book the necessary amount of jobs, it's going to take you now 3 weeks to accomplish what you need to do in 1. It doesn't work. I constantly see on Facebook and everything else, people are looking for work and they're looking to be subs and everything else, which is fine. But if they would just realize that, again, if you put in 100 and you walk away with 500, you just keep on doing that. over and over and over again. Now, this model with the referrals, that might work if you've been in business for 20, 30 years, or if you just have a lot of contacts and a lot of people that you end up reaching out to and referrals are just flying in the door. Maybe you've hit it with a really great realtor, something like that, and they just hook you up all the time. But 9 times out of 10, like, you're not getting these 6 phone calls a week, and that's why you need to supplement it with your advertising. You may not have to get all your ads to produce all your work for you, but if you're currently not making enough money, you just need to spend money on ads. And if, like I said, we're going on the worst case possibility right now for this. Okay. Now, obviously, with the fencing, that's a little bit different. Maybe you're not in this $6,000 to $10,000 range. Maybe you're only making about $2,000 because that's what we're at, closer. Because if our average job is like $5,500, and then we're making roughly, just say 35-40%, depending on the job, like then we're probably at like $1,200 per job. Now, this method still would work. We're a hell of a lot lower, so you're not going to be paying 60. You should be at that 35 range. But even so, even if you're paying $35 a lead, okay? So if you're paying 35, even if it takes you 20 to 1, okay? So that's $700 that you're paying for that customer, but you're walking away with $2,100. So it's still the same thing. You're going in with 7, you're walking out with $2,100. Okay, so you're making a $1,400 profit. And for like someone like me, once you put in the systems and everything else, and you have just the right employees and the right crews installing for you, well, what happens is this just becomes more of a game where you're literally spending as much time as you can, effort and energy and money on ads, because you realize, because I'm only spending 15 minutes a day like checking reports and stuff. All I know is and this again is on the high side because I'm like $10 to $15, but even on that very high side, if I just put in $700 every 2 days, I can walk out with a $1,400 profit. Like, that's literally, I put in $350 a day, I walk out with $700 a day. Like, it's that simple. So I hope this makes sense. So in the end, should you pay for leads? My answer is yes, but you just have to make sure you're profitable or not. Now, if you do something where, like, with fencing, if you're paying for, Home Advisor and it's $600, it's $60, and you have to do 20 to 1, and you're looking at $1,200. Well, if I'm paying $1,200 to make $2,100, am I still making money? Yeah, but that's still, I'm only, I'm putting out $1,200 to make $900 return. Like, that's just not enough. It should be at least 1 to 1 at the bare minimum, but obviously much higher than that, like we are. But in either case, if you're not advertising, you're costing yourself money. And typically, more times than not, like the people that are probably watching this, is you don't have enough work. Okay, you don't have enough work. You might be super busy, but you're only super busy enough to, basically with you doing all the work. Like, you have just enough to, a lot of times it's a husband and wife team. So like the wife's taking care of the office stuff and then you're going and installing. But if you're not bringing in enough jobs to the point where you can start hiring other people, well, what's going to happen is, as just say as a fence contractor, if you don't make the adjustments necessary, then what's going to happen is you are going to dig holes the rest of your life. And that's a scary future, according to, at least in my perspective, because I don't want to dig holes the rest of my life. So that's why we got away from it. Same thing with kitchen remodels and stuff like that. The goal is to start the business. So then, obviously you have to work within the business, but then eventually is to have the business be able to support you. And the only way you can do that is to drive in your sales, which again is through advertising. And whatever form you want to do, if you want to do online or offline, as long as you can measure it, then go for it. Like people do the Clipper magazine and the money mailer and stuff like that. Even the phone book still for whatever reason. But as long as you can measure this, which online is a hell of a lot easier to measure than offline, but as long as you can measure that, I'm spending $700, I'm walking away with $2,100, so I'm making $1,400, well, just keep on doing that. And obviously you don't want to spend this much just to make $2,100, but you just keep on spending this anyway. And then, because this is what I did, and then what will eventually happen is you go from 700 and then you start tweaking your ads, or you tweak your landing pages or whatever else, and then you get it to 600 to make that 21. And then eventually it goes to 500 and then 400 and so forth and so on. And then if you get into the case where I am, now I'm paying like max $15 a lead. So even if I'm at 20 to 1, I'm paying $300 to make 2,100. But as long as you start here and work your way, you will get to this point to make this. And then it's just a no-brainer, because then you're putting in like $100, right? And then you make 700. Like, it's this simple. Like it's literally this simple, and especially it really becomes this simple once you have this dialed down, and then you have your business put in place, so that way the people do it for you. But the only way you're going to be able to do that is one, to advertise, and two, you have to raise your prices. And like I said, there's a video that's I'll link into this description as well. It shows you how to go from this range to this range, and it's really not hard, and it takes in this same effect. But watch that video and you'll see how it's done. But it's the key to pretty much everything. You know, with more profit, you're able to hire the employee, so then they can start doing the stuff for you. And again, that's how I went from working 80 hours a week down to like 15 minutes a day. Now, it wasn't all at once, but it was, once you find that key employee, you can easily go from 80 to 50. And then from there, it's just a game of what can I tweak. Because then at that point, if you're still fine with working 80 hours, you spend the other 30 to figure out what the hell's wrong in your business and start fixing it little by little. And then next thing you know, it's like you went from 80 to 50, and then you spent those 30 hours, then you go to like 45 and then 40, and then you realize that there's services and everything else that you shouldn't be doing because you guys aren't good at it. And then what you end up doing is you start eliminating stuff, and then you go from 40 to 20, and then it just snowballs. It's simple. But again, watch the other videos. They're super helpful, and again, the goal of this channel is to get you from 80 hours or whatever you're currently doing down to 15, or just at least make enough money to provide for your family instead of being stressed out all the time. So if you like videos like this, please like and subscribe. And then also, if this can help anyone that you know, if they're struggling, share it with them as well so we can help each other out. Thanks. Have a good one.